if it's under $100, for $900, and I think anything 900 or over has to be bidded on. But I did the research on the value of the truck.
Yeah, but why wasn't others invited to take a bid on? Maybe somebody else could have used it too.
Exactly, I totally agree with you. I mean,
Yeah, that was wrong.
we
That was
could
wrong.
have scrapped it for more than $100.
Absolutely.
But I did the research, did the Blue Book value, going by the year and the approximate miles on the car,
Right.
which was like 80,000. And we would have, if worst case scenario, it would have been 800, the value would have been $880.
Right.
The best case would have been $1,380.
So it was wrong, and they got away with it.
And yeah, once the paperwork's signed, you can't really do anything
Okay.
about it. But I would like Sandy to send a letter, maybe draft a letter, Sandy, to everyone, to all council.
I was gonna say everyone, all of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I do have to check into the new rules, like I was just talking to Mark, I know that the rules changed on the, when you need to take a bid or not, but, okay, you would like a letter, continue, I'm sorry.
yeah,
Well, whether or not the law requires you to take a bid, any piece of junk that's not running is worth $300 or $400 to a junk dealer, and they will, one phone call, they will come and pick it up and give you a bill of sale and a receipt.
right.
And that car is sitting maybe 30 feet away from us right now, and it's on the street and it's inspected, so it must not have been a piece of junk. So the question says, who evaluates the value of a car? What's to stop somebody from giving this, like a brand new police car to somebody for $100?
Well, the email says here that, Norm offered a couple hundred, but John said 100. It needed brake lines, a battery, it had a vacuum leak in the intake manifold, and an AC leak. But, so everyone knows, all of us, we knew nothing about this.
Right.
We found out after it was on the street and the owner had already had it.
So they took it upon themselves to be the borough and choose to sell something illegal just so a friend or a neighbor could get it.
Right, I mean, if you're gonna
That is
sell
just so
something for a
wrong.
couple $100, you could have
It
done the
doesn't matter.
lottery, everybody could have put their name in the hat and
Absolutely.
done the lottery,
They got kids in college and stuff, yeah.
Right, exactly, exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah, I wasn't sure when I saw this, I was a little surprised, yeah.
Can those two be surcharged for that money, if their car was worth $1,300, be made to put that money into the general fund?
I don't know. Got anything? Sandy?
Well, there's two, it seems like there's two issues here. One is, and I don't need to correct you, Beth, I don't know if it was illegal. That's first. The question is about the bidding process and whether that was necessary. The second issue, which really is just a council decision, was council obviously was not consulted. So, I'm gonna have to punt and figure out what,
Right.
whether the first one is right or wrong, and then you started to say, Madam
Make sure
President,
you
what do you want me to
make
do,
sure
a
you-
letter?
Yes, and make sure you include Mayor Orr and John Pappas on that too, because this obviously happened because of, their decision.
And you're asking for a letter of inquiry with regard to getting the.
Inquiry, right.
All right.
Sandy, could I ask who the borough vehicles belong to? Do they belong to the borough?
Yeah,
Oh, except for the
they're
ambulance.
entitled in the.
Yeah,
So
we insure
how
them.
does an individual sell something that belongs to the borough?
Well, again, I think there are two issues going here. Your council probably would have the right to discuss a matter and decide whether or not, it's worth, I don't know. I mean, the president just pointed out that there was some back and forth with emails as to the relative worth of this car, whether this car, but the question is, was it okay to do it without a bidding process? And the second question, which is really a council decision, should they have had a say in this?
Yes.
Right, I'm just,
When you're saying how, I'm not sure what you're
Well,
asking. How you do it is
so-
somebody
so
comes and says, can
I
I
guess-
take
I
that
guess
off your
what-
hands?
I guess what needs to be determined whether, first of all, I don't see where the mayor would have any authority in this at all, because he's not a member of council or anything, and he doesn't sell the fire chief's, the fire inspector's vehicle. Mr. Pappas was president of the council at that time, as far as I know. And if he was president of the council, he either had the authority to unilaterally on his own sell a vehicle for less than its appraised value, or he didn't. Now, if he didn't have the authority to do that, was the sale legal? That would be my question. And if the sale was not legal, what law would have been broken? So it seems that you might wanna look into. I don't care that much about the car, and I'm not out to get John. It's just like, I don't care all that much. There's a lot of people that care a lot more about, you know, how much money was spent, you know, when this open records thing is concerned and stuff. I'm mostly concerned with open government and things not happening in the background. I'm concerned about getting these records just because it's the law that you have to give us these records. And when every time you don't comply with the law, it gets up, next thing you know, we're gonna be in Harrisburg in some judge's office. So, what I'm saying with this is that I'm thinking toward the future, what's to keep this from happening again? You know, I think it sounds to me like some friends got together and they said, well, let's do this, and I think that car's a piece of junk and you can have it for $100. That's fine, except it was a piece of property that didn't belong to those people individually. They didn't own that vehicle, and yet they sold it. They directed it to be sold, I assume? So, you know, I mean, it's one thing to say it's under $900, but until you have somebody, you have a piece of paper that says it was evaluated by somebody. You know, you can take a car like that and say, well, if you want to get the air conditioning fixed, it's gonna cost you $800, and therefore if the car is worth $900, now it's only worth $100. There's a lot of people that would pay $800 for a car without air conditioning because it's their only way to get to and from work. So that really, you can't do that kind of math on it, which is the suggestion I've heard in the past. But I just think that this needs to be looked in, not so much to pin something on somebody, but to identify exactly who has the authority to do this in the future, and to find out exactly how this could go, something like this could go down and the council wouldn't even know about it.
My only comment is I'll see what I can find out for you between now and next meeting, but I also would say there, you know, to the best of my knowledge, and I don't know the law offhand with regard to the bidding process, they upped, our legislature upped, the assembly upped that amount, and there's a reason for that, because at some point it's de minimis, you know, but let me find out the answer to how those decisions are made and the
Could you translate
evaluation.
de minimis for me, please?
No.
It's,
But let me
it's just
find out.
something so
I mean,
small
I
that-
knew nothing about this until it's just come to light recently.
Yeah.
And what I'll do is I'll send a letter to council at the request of council president, and we'll see if we can look into it a little more, and it might turn out to be nothing, and it might turn out to be something. I have
Right.
no idea.
okay, that's fine.
Just so you know, Glenn, usually, most of the stuff usually gets put on municipal bid,
Right.
and it
You
does
know
go
about
through
that
the bidding
website?
process.
Yeah, I've heard about it. I didn't know that we did that, but I've heard about that.
Somehow they got my email, and I get regular emails
Really?
on the, from municipal bid.
Okay, is that all done? Okay, treasurer's report.
Madam President, the general fund of Eddystone had a